congratulations on season 3.
Thank you.
It's been a while.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So Bertha and George.
Yeah.
A little tension. Where are we picking up with them?
Little tension. Yeah. I'm still in hot pursuit of Gladys's marriage.
And I'm sort of trying to do what's right for my daughter without, ruining my life.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the season is about. It's about marriages, but we're also hearing divorces.
Yeah.
Are they going to Splitsville? How are things really going on?
Not if I can help
the
it.
Russells?
I'll do what I can to keep us alive.
Yeah, I don't know. Would you say that's your priority in the season?
I beg your pardon. Of course.
Yeah.
I think you don't have the kind of vision that I have, and so you don't see the long game that I'm playing. And so you're sensitive to a point, not in business.
I'm just nodding and smiling.
Just you're little daddy's girl.
Well, Gladys has everyone wrapped around her finger, no?
I mean, I see right through her, but yeah, more or less.
I feel like she spent 2 seasons just being utterly marginalized and pushed around, and the one thing she wants is not to be forced into a marriage of convenience.
Yeah,
And here she finds herself having to live through her worst nightmare.
If she chose well, then she wouldn't have to.
Well, let's talk about that, because it's your fault or reasoning why she's actually heading into this possible marriage this season.
Yes. Well, she doesn't understand the world. She's lived a very sheltered life. Maybe that's my fault, but she's. These marriages overseas were very common because they helped raise the prestige of the family name, and that is something we need. We have the business piece in place. My job, my sole pursuit, is to raise our social standing because I'm not allowed to do anything else. So I'm putting all my energy into it. And what I know about the world is that it doesn't matter. I want her to have influence and power in the world, and she will get that through marriage. That is the only way she will get it. Because I know, because if there was any other way to get it, I'd have it already, and I don't.
Collective liberation as opposed to individual
Yes,
liberation.
which, maybe I'll
It's like you never think about that, maybe.
Well, Alva Vanderbilt eventually did think about that. It just took her a little while. She's not there yet. Bertha's not there yet. So first she has to set her daughter. She's at marriageable age. So it's important to get her into a position where she can have power and influence in the world. And that's the thing maybe Gladys doesn't want. But Bertha understands that, over time, life perhaps will become less fulfilling when all those social, social events start to fall away and you get older and you want to have some, you want to have an impact. Bertha's trying to set her up to have an impact. That's all.
And George is standing by. He's more focused on the railroad, all these, revolutionizing things. What's it like for him? Because he's going through some challenges as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think similarly, George is really driven by this, this quest for legacy. And also, I think to be a first mover. I mean, in terms of, you can see in so many areas of our economy, like what it means to have been the first person to get, or the first company to get to search, or the first company to really build the smartphone. And he's trying to do the same thing with the railroad. He's trying to be the first to market and to really dominate the transcontinentals. But I think he's also driven by this need to really put his stamp on the world. That it's just fundamental to his personality, and that they have in common.
Yes.
I think that's one major driving theme for him this season. But no question, his the real emotional struggle this season is how to keep Gladys from being made miserable by her mother's ambitions for her. And I think the way that Gladys becomes kind of a pawn in Bertha's quest for power is part of it. It's something that George is really wrestling with in a variety of ways over the course of the season.
She's not unhappy. I'm just saying.
Well, that was the times back then. You have old money, new money coming in. You're trying to have the social standing.
Yeah.
What is that like, showing that dichotomy in the show? Because you have the Russells, you have the Brooks, and it's totally different social standings.
Yeah. I mean, the 400 families, right? It's
yeah, but we're in now.
We're
I mean, that's the
totally
thing. It's
in now.
by season 3, it's we're not really. They come to our parties.
Yeah, because
we're
because the old money recognized how powerful the new money was.
Right.
So it's all about money and that economic stratification. And it's being mirrored in our society, of course, right now. It's not different. The people can buy their way in. They can buy their influence now. People who show up at these events have a lot of money and a lot of power, a lot of followers, That's the cachet now. And so really it hasn't changed very much.
Critiquing influencer culture right now?
No, not critiquing, engaging.
Okay.
Totally engaging.
Noticing.
I feel like they're
Noticing.
running the world at this
Oh,
point,
I
these
mean,
influencers.
every agency has a department responsible for shepherding them along. You know, it's a big part of our lives.
Would you say Bertha is an influencer?
I think she thinks of herself as trying to push trends and stuff like that. Yeah. I think fashion, because of course this was the birth of the paparazzi. You know, the wedding was a big deal. People taking photographs outside of those things and what they wore.
She's calling the newspapers.
I don't know about that. Oh yeah, no, she does do that. But
Right.
She's
very
the
coy about
Kris
it.
Jenner of the
Yeah,
times.
she is a little bit.
Wow.
I think she is the Kris Jenner. And even her fashion is, you know, we intentionally have her fashion ahead of the time that she's living in. That's a choice that our costume designer's making, very smart, because modern audiences will pick up on those slight changes. So yeah, I love that. I mean, Bertha is really trying to push things.
And you're in the fashion game as well. I mean, you were doing both White Lotus
Yes.
and this at the same time. How did you juggle that? I mean, the fashion
I?
in both of them were amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I love getting to play in, obviously, this period piece is, Kasha's a genius, and the costumes are one of the reasons people watch it. I'm sure there are people who watch it with the sound off just to see the costumes and the production design. It's gorgeous, and you get used to wearing them. And then the White Lotus is a whole other world of fashion that, you know, I'm somebody who didn't know how to pronounce all the fashion brand names before I started on White Lotus, and I got a real education in those fittings. And I, of course, was with Michelle and Leslie, who have a history of being, I mean, they were both former models, that it felt like I was working with two former models. I felt like the shrimp of the group, but you know, I had to kind of learn a lot on that job. And of course, it was also very comfortable, mostly comfortable. You know, you're wearing caftans and robes, and you know, bathing suits are, whether they're comfortable, I don't know, but
They're not corsets.
no, but at least you're not, you know, it's 120 degrees. You can be in 120 degrees in a church on the Gilded Age, and you're head to toe covered in all this, you know, all these garments. But yeah, no, it's been a real education. I've enjoyed it so much. And I know, you know, Morgan, I think of Morgan as sort of a fashion influencer. I'm always interested to see what Morgan's into these days.
I just wear.
And he looks great in the clothes. Yeah, right. We do what we're told.
Men make fashion statement as well. And
They
he
do.
does.
Sure.
I mean, look at what's happening with athletes, and I mean, it's a really interesting territory where culturally we're always shifting, and one thing it's just like dance. You can't innovate until everything that came before. So the history is very valuable.
It is. And I want to ask you before they wrap me up. You did not die in the White Lotus. So, potentially, season 4.
Yes.
Can Laurie come back? Because we saw that happen this season.
Yes, I suppose anyone Mike White chooses can come back. And if she did, I hope wherever we are, it's winter. But Mike doesn't have the wardrobe for that, so I doubt it.
He did kind of touch upon that. And he said it might be colder where we're
I hope
going next.
It can't be any warmer than where we were. It's the warmest I've ever been.
I love it. Well, you guys are fantastic. This show is wonderful. Everyone's going to love it.
Thank
and you know, Bill Camp is in this. Some great guest
Yes,
stars.
we have
Yeah,
the most
amazing.
additions this
Merritt
year.
Weaver.
Merritt, we're just delighted in having Felicia, everybody.
Yeah, it's
We're spoiled.
So it's
totally
like you guys
spoiled.
went down Broadway and just picked
We did.
everybody out of
We
their
really
like,
did.
plays.
No, it's marvelous. It's just the best job. It's the best job.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
So